The wind howls like a banshee as salt water crashes over the deck, soaking your weathered boots. Thunder splits the sky above, and through the chaos you hear it, your crew chanting your name like a war cry. Captain Blackwood, Captain Blackwood, Captain Blackwood. Lightning illuminates their scarred faces, eyes wild with bloodlust and devotion. You're standing at the helm of the Crimson Revenge, cutlass gleaming in your grip, and the Spanish treasure galleon ahead is about to learn why they whisper your name in every port from Port Royal to Tortuga. You're not just any pirate, you're a captain. And tonight you're about to remind the Caribbean seas exactly what that means. You weren't born to this life. 3 years ago, you were press-ganged aboard a merchant vessel, scrubbing decks and eating weevil-infested hardtack. But mutiny has a way of revealing who you really are. When Captain Reeves tried to flog a cabin boy to death for spilling rum, you put a knife between his ribs. The crew looked to you that blood-soaked night, and you've been their captain ever since. Now you command 40 of the most ruthless cutthroats to ever hoist the black flag, and your ship strikes fear into every merchant captain who dares cross these waters. Dawn breaks crimson over the horizon as you survey your domain from the quarterdeck. The Caribbean stretches endless in every direction. Turquoise waters hiding coral reefs that can gut a ship faster than cannon fire. Your crew moves with practiced efficiency below. Some splicing rope, others cleaning their pistols, all of them hardened by years of violence and treasure. This isn't some romantic adventure. This is survival in its rawest form, where one mistake means death and loyalty is bought with gold and blood. Your cabin sits beneath the quarterdeck, a cramped space that reeks of rum and gunpowder. Maps cover every surface, marked with X's where treasure lies buried and red ink where rival crews patrol. Your logbook chronicles 3 years of raids, merchant ships stripped bare, rival pirates sent to Davy Jones, enough Spanish gold to buy a small kingdom. But gold means nothing if you can't keep it, and keeping it means staying one step ahead of the Royal Navy. Rival captains and the occasional mutinous crew member who thinks they can take your place. Navigation is your lifeline out here. You plot courses by the stars, reading wind patterns like scripture and memorizing every reef, current, and safe harbor between here and the Spanish Main. Your quartermaster, Old Tom, keeps the charts updated with fresh intelligence from tavern gossips and captured prisoners. That merchant captain you interrogated last week revealed a Spanish treasure fleet departing Cartagena next month, loaded with silver from the Potosi mines. Information like that is worth more than a chest of doubloons, and you've built your reputation on knowing when and where to strike. Your crew respects strength above all else, and maintaining that respect requires constant vigilance. Every morning you inspect the ship with military precision. Cannons must be spotless, cutlasses sharp enough to shave with, and every rope properly coiled. Discipline keeps 40 bloodthirsty pirates from tearing each other apart, but it's a delicate balance. Too harsh, and you'll wake with a knife in your back. Too lenient, and chaos consumes everything. The Articles of Agreement hang nailed to the mainmast, 23 rules that govern life aboard the Crimson Revenge. Equal shares of treasure for all crew members, death for anyone who strikes a fellow pirate, and absolute authority for the captain during battle. You drafted these articles yourself, borrowing from pirate codes passed down through generations of Caribbean raiders. They're not suggestions, they're law, enforced with the cat-o'-nine tails and the occasional keel hauling when someone needs a permanent reminder. Treasure division happens after every successful raid, and it's where your leadership gets tested most severely. The crew gathers on deck while you and Old Tom count out shares. 1 portion for each crew member, 2 for the quartermaster, 3 for yourself as captain. Arguments break out over damaged goods, disputed kills, and who deserves credit for boarding actions. You settle disputes with pistol and cutlass when necessary, but mostly your word is final. Mutiny starts with grumbling over treasure shares, and you've seen too many captains overthrown by crews who felt cheated. Punishment aboard a pirate ship makes Royal Navy discipline look merciful. Last month, you caught Jenkins stealing rum from the common stores. The crew voted for 30 lashes delivered at sunset while everyone watched. His screams echoed across the water, but the lesson was clear. Steal from your brothers and you'll pay in blood. 2 weeks ago, Martinez tried to desert at Port Royal, swimming for shore with a bag of silver coins. You dragged him back and marooned him on a barren island with a pistol, powder for 1 shot, and a bottle of water. Mercy is a luxury captains can't afford. Your reputation precedes you into every port. Tavern keepers offer free rum. Merchants negotiate in hushed whispers, and rival pirates either challenge you directly or give your table wide berth. In Port Royal's Crow's Nest Inn, you gather intelligence from smugglers, fence stolen goods with corrupt officials, and recruit new crew members from the dregs of society. Every conversation is a negotiation, every handshake a potential betrayal. Trust is measured in gold and proven through blood. The Spanish treasure galleon appeared on the horizon 3 days ago, exactly where your intelligence suggested. She's the Santa Isabella, 48 guns and a hull full of silver destined for King Philip's coffers. Your crew has been preparing since dawn, priming cannons, sharpening cutlasses, and sharing final tots of rum before battle. But something feels different about this hunt. The Spanish captain knows these waters too well. His ship moves with suspicious confidence, and those escort vessels flanking his stern aren't merchant marines. Old Tom approaches with troubled eyes, his weathered face creased with concern. "The wind's shifting, Captain," he growls, pointing toward dark clouds gathering on the eastern horizon. "Storms coming fast, and if we engage now, we'll be fighting in heavy seas." You study the approaching weather through your spyglass. Towering thunderheads pregnant with rain and lightning, the kind of tempest that can sink ships and drown entire crews. But the Santa Isabella won't wait for perfect weather, and opportunities like this don't come twice. Your crew looks to you for orders, 40 pairs of eyes reflecting absolute faith in your judgment. They've followed you through hell and back, trusting your decisions with their lives and their shares of treasure. But this choice carries weight beyond gold and glory. Engage now, and you risk everything in a storm that could claim your ship. Wait for better weather, and the Santa Isabella escapes with enough silver to fund Spanish armies for years. The moral calculus of piracy isn't taught in any academy. Every decision balances profit against survival, loyalty against necessity, honor against pragmatism. You've made these choices countless times before, but tonight feels different. The stakes seem higher, the margins thinner, and that nagging voice in the back of your mind whispers warnings you can't quite decipher. Battle stations you command, your voice cutting through wind and spray. The crew explodes into motion, gunners racing to cannons, marksmen climbing the rigging, and boarding parties checking their weapons one final time. The crimson revenge turns toward the Santa Isabella like a shark scenting blood, her black flag snapping in the rising wind. Tonight you'll either claim the greatest prize of your career or join the countless pirates whose bones litter the Caribbean seabed. The Spanish ship's cannons flash in the darkness, orange flames illuminating her hull as iron shot screams overhead. Your ship shudders as the first broadside tears through her hull, splinters exploding like deadly rain across the deck. One of your gunners screams, clutching his shredded arm as blood pools beneath the cannon. But you've survived worse than Spanish iron, and tonight won't be your last. Return fire, you roar, and the Crimson Revenge unleashes hell. 20 cannons thunder in unison, their muzzle flashes turning night into day. Through the smoke, you watch your shot punch through the Santa Isabella's stern, her ornate windows shattering like broken dreams. The storm arrives with biblical fury. Rain lashes your face like tiny knives while waves tall as houses crash over the bow. Your crew fights on, their curses lost in howling wind as they reload cannons with water streaming down their backs. This is what separates pirates from merchants: the ability to kill in conditions that would send lesser men cowering below decks. Lightning splits the sky, and for one terrifying moment you see them. 3 more ships emerging from the storm, their hulls bristling with cannon and their flags bearing the Crimson Cross of Spain. It's a trap. The Santa Isabella was bait, and you've sailed straight into the jaws of a Spanish wolf pack. Admiral Mendoza's signature tactic: use treasure ships to lure pirates into killing grounds where his warships wait in ambush. You've heard the stories whispered in Port Royal taverns, tales of pirate crews found floating face down with Spanish steel in their backs. But you're not some green captain sailing into his first battle. You've danced this dance before. Hard to port, you bellow, spinning the wheel as another broadside screams overhead. The Crimson Revenge heels over so far her rail touches water, but she responds like the thoroughbred she is. Your crew works with desperate efficiency, some manning pumps to keep flooding at bay, others dragging wounded men clear of the gun ports. Old Tom appears at your elbow, his face grim as death. We're taking on water fast, Captain. Hulls breached in 3 places and the storm's pushing us toward Devil's Teeth Reef. The Devil's Teeth, jagged coral spears that have claimed more ships than Spanish cannon. You know these waters better than your own scars. Every current and tide memorized through years of hunting these seas. But knowing and surviving are different things entirely. The storm drives you toward those waiting fangs while Spanish warships close from 3 sides like wolves cornering wounded prey. Your options shrink with every passing minute. Miguel Santos emerges from the gun deck, his shirt soaked crimson. We lost 4 men to that last broadside, Captain. Hernandez took grape shot to the chest and young Billy's gone. Direct hit from a 12-pounder. The boy was barely 16, recruited from a Bristol dock just 3 months ago. Now he's another casualty of the pirates' trade, his dreams of treasure and adventure ended by Spanish iron. You've seen too many good men die, but grief is a luxury you can't afford while enemy ships bear down on your position. The Spanish admiral knows his business. His ships move in perfect formation despite the storm, their experienced crews working cannons with mechanical precision. These aren't merchant marines or colonial militia. They're Spanish Navy regulars, veterans of European wars who've sailed these waters longer than most pirates have been alive. Admiral Mendoza has been hunting Caribbean raiders for 5 years, and his reputation for ruthless efficiency precedes him into every port. Your quartermaster's right about the flooding. Water sloshes ankle-deep across the gun deck, and your crew can't keep pace with the incoming sea. The Crimson Revenge is dying beneath your feet, her proud hull opened like a gutted fish by Spanish shot. But she's not finished yet, and neither are you. Signal the crew for ramming speed, you command, pointing toward the nearest Spanish frigate. If we're going down, we're taking them with us. The crew understands immediately this isn't retreat or surrender, it's the final gambit of a cornered predator. They secure loose cannons, tie down anything that might shift during impact, and prepare for the collision that will either save them or send them all to the depths. Your ship gathers speed despite her wounds, cutting through storm-tossed seas toward the Spanish vessel, whose captain probably thinks you're trying to escape. He realizes your intention too late. The Spanish frigate tries to turn away, but the storm works against her now. Your reinforced bow strikes her amidships with the force of divine retribution, crushing her hull like an eggshell. The impact throws you against the wheel, stars exploding behind your eyes as the two ships lock together in their death embrace. Spanish sailors scream as their masts topple, crushing men beneath tons of rigging and sail. Board them, you roar, drawing your cutlass as your crew pours across the gap between ships. This is where pirates excel. Close quarters combat where skill matters more than discipline, where desperation trumps training. Your men fight like demons, cutlasses flashing in lightning-lit chaos as they carve through Spanish marines. Blood runs red across rain-slicked decks while the storm rages overhead, nature's fury matching human violence. You find the Spanish captain in his cabin, a gray-haired veteran trying to destroy his charts before capture. His sword work is skilled but predictable, academy-trained rather than battle-forged. Your cutlass opens his throat in 3 quick strokes and his secrets die with him. But victory tastes bitter when your own ship lists dangerously, taking on water faster than your remaining crew can bail. The other Spanish ships circle like sharks, waiting for the storm to finish what their cannons started. You've bought time, but not salvation. The Devil's Teeth Reef looms dead ahead, its coral fangs waiting to claim another victim. Your crew looks to you for miracles, but captains don't perform miracles. They make hard choices and live with the consequences. Then Old Tom points toward the horizon, his weathered face pale with terror. "Captain," he whispers, his voice barely audible above the storm. "Look at the water. The sea around your ships has begun to glow. Not the natural phosphorescence of disturbed plankton, but something deeper and more sinister. The light pulses like a heartbeat, growing stronger with each flash of lightning. Your crew falls silent, even the wounded stopping their moaning as they sense something vast stirring beneath the waves. The water starts to churn, not from wind or current, but from something massive rising from the depths. Tentacles thick as ship masts break the surface first, their flesh covered in scars older than memory. Then comes the body, a mountain of ancient muscle and malevolent intelligence that dwarfs even your largest warship. The Kraken has awakened, and its eyes burn with hunger that spans centuries. Spanish sailors scream prayers in languages you don't recognize as tentacles wrap around their ships, crushing oak and iron like kindling. The creature's beak, large enough to swallow a whale, opens to reveal rows of teeth sharp as cavalry sabers. This is the nightmare that haunts every sailor's dreams, the legend that lurks beneath every wave, waiting for storms and blood to summon it from the abyss. The Kraken's attention turns toward your foundering ship, those ancient eyes studying you with predatory intelligence. One tentacle rises from the churning sea, water cascading from its scarred flesh as it reaches toward your deck. Your crew stands frozen, cutlasses useless against something that could crush your entire ship without effort. This is how pirate legends end, not with Spanish steel or Royal Navy rope, but with something older and hungrier than human ambition. The tentacle hovers above your head close enough to feel the cold that radiates from its ancient flesh, but something impossible happens. The tentacle pauses, its scarred flesh trembling as ancient eyes study the bloodied cutlass in your grip. You see recognition there, not of you, but of the blade itself. The steel bears markings you've never understood, runes carved by hands long dead. Your grandfather's cutlass, passed down through generations of sea wolves, suddenly feels alive in your grip. The kraken's massive head tilts, considering, and then slowly, impossibly, the tentacle withdraws. The creature's attention shifts to the Spanish ships, and what follows defies every law of nature and warfare. Tentacles thick as cathedral pillars wrap around hulls, lifting entire warships from the water like toy boats. The screams of Spanish sailors echo across the storm as their vessels are crushed to splinters. Admiral Mendoza's flagship breaks apart like a child's puzzle, her proud cannons tumbling into the abyss along with the men who served them. You watch in stunned silence as the Kraken methodically destroys your enemies. Its ancient fury focused entirely on the Spanish fleet. This isn't random destruction. It's deliberate, calculated revenge against something these waters remember. The creature's eyes burn with hatred older than any human grudge, and you realize you're witnessing the settling of a debt that spans centuries. The last Spanish ship disappears beneath the waves, her colors still flying as she's dragged into darkness. The Kraken's massive form begins to submerge, those ancient eyes meeting yours one final time. There's something like respect there, or perhaps recognition of a kindred predator. Then it's gone, leaving only churning water and the debris of Spanish ambitions floating on the storm-tossed sea. Your crew stares in wordless terror and awe. They've seen cannon battles and sword fights, but this transcends human understanding. Old Tom crosses himself with shaking hands while Miguel mutters prayers in 3 different languages. They look to you for explanation. But how do you explain the impossible? How do you tell hardened pirates that something older than civilization just chose to spare them? The storm begins to break, revealing a sea painted crimson by dawn's first light. Your ship lists heavily, water still pouring through her wounded hull, but she's afloat. Barely. The Spanish treasure from the Santa Isabella floats scattered across the waves. Chests of silver, bags of gold coins, artifacts worth more than most men see in lifetimes. Your crew springs into action, hauling treasure aboard with desperate efficiency while their captain's ship slowly dies beneath them. "We need to abandon ship, Captain," Old Tom reports, his voice heavy with sorrow. "She won't last another hour, not with these holes in her hull. The Crimson Revenge has been your home, your castle, your weapon for 3 years. Every plank holds memories of battles won and treasures claimed. But ships are just wood and iron. Crews are what matter, and your men need leadership now more than sentiment." You spot a small island on the horizon, little more than a sandbar with palm trees, but it might offer shelter while you plan your next move. The crew transfers what treasure they can to the ship's boats, along with water casks, gunpowder, and weapons. 37 men, all that remains of your original 40, crowd into 3 small craft as your beloved ship settles deeper into the waves. The Crimson Revenge goes down with her colors flying, black flags snapping defiantly as the sea claims her. You watch from the lead boat as she disappears beneath the surface, taking with her the legend you've built over 3 blood-soaked years. But legends aren't tied to ships. They're carried in the hearts of men who refuse to surrender, who adapt and survive and strike back when enemies think them beaten. The island proves to be inhabited, though not by anyone expecting pirates. A small fishing village huddles on the eastern shore, maybe 50 souls who've never seen more violence than the occasional bar fight. They flee into the jungle when your boats beach on their sand, leaving behind nets, boats, and enough supplies to keep your crew alive while you plan your resurrection. Your men look to you with uncertainty they've never shown before. They've followed Captain Blackwood through hell and back, but now their ship is gone, their enemies multiplied, and their future uncertain. Some mutter about taking one of the fishing boats and trying to reach Port Royal. Others suggest dividing the remaining treasure and going their separate ways. The bonds that held your crew together are fraying like rope in a hurricane, but you see opportunity where others see defeat. The Spanish think you're dead, which makes you more dangerous than ever. Dead pirates don't need to worry about their reputations or their enemies' expectations. You can strike from shadows, hit targets no one expects. Rebuild your legend from the ashes of the old. The Kraken's intervention wasn't just salvation, it was rebirth. You address your crew as the sun sets over their temporary refuge, your voice carrying the authority that's kept them loyal through 3 years of raids and battles. We've lost our ship, you tell them, but we haven't lost our brotherhood. The Spanish think they've won, but they've only made us more dangerous. We'll rebuild, rearm, and remind the Caribbean why they fear the name Blackwood. Your words kindle hope in faces marked by despair. These men have followed you into impossible battles before, trusting your judgment when common sense counseled retreat. They've shared treasure and blood, faced death and glory side by side. That bond runs deeper than any ship, stronger than Spanish steel. The life of a pirate captain isn't measured in years, but in heartbeats between cannon fire and cutlass strikes. You've tasted freedom that no king can grant and power that no law can contain. From mutinous beginnings to Kraken encounters, you've carved your legend across Caribbean waters with blood and steel. The sea claimed your ship, but not your spirit. And somewhere out there, new adventures wait for those bold enough to seize them.